So you talk a lot about de-risking because of your kind of depth of knowledge in this area. Where does that de-risking end? I mean, as far as what are you guys responsible for, and what's the client really responsible for?
So from from a risk standpoint, first of all, I think it's important to understand what those risks are. You know, shipping goods into a country in a non-compliant manner can have all sorts of, over and above delay in your project and loss of revenue and all that sort of stuff that's fairly obvious. You can permanently flag your entity in customs, which means everything you do in that country is now more difficult. You can land up with fines that could cripple your business in that location. You could land up with criminal accusations and cases in these countries where you inadvertently broke the rules, and now you land up, in a criminal proceeding with customs. So they're major risks to importing in these countries. And from a TecEx standpoint, we take on all the risks associated with the logistics and the handling and the importation, right? Which means that during transit, we make sure the goods are fully insured. Any damage or loss covered by our, what we believe is an industry-leading insurance product, liability cover. Once the goods arrive in customs, we manage the full process. All the legal and tax liability sits on TecEx squarely. We are the declarant. We are the importer of record. We are the ones who are responsible, both fiscally and legally in country. So any fines, any sort of criminal investigations through misuse of the assets, or anything that's even outside of TecEx's control, firmly sits on our shoulders. So it's a major risk, being the importer of record, because we are the entity that is within that country's jurisdiction, if something goes wrong. Once we deliver the goods, obviously we deliver them to where they need to be. Our liability ends with regards to the loss or damage. Obviously, the client is then responsible, to make sure that their products are appropriately handled and taken care of. So our insurance of the physical hardware ends at the point of delivery with a signed proof of delivery. However, our risk, both legally and fiscally in country, usually remains for the statutory limitation in that location. So that's anywhere from 3 to 7 years, depending on the different countries. But we will always be the fiscally and legally responsible party for those assets in country. And we shield both SynerComm and your clients and your partners, from that risk. But, we then again, we know exactly what we're doing when we clear customs. So we manage that risk, internally. The only thing we do not cover is any misrepresentations or, any sort of things like that, where we were told one thing and the reality is another. That's where our liability, will not cover that sort of thing. But anything in the normal course of importing, delivery, basic risk with customs, that all sits with TecEx, and we manage that risk for the statutory limitation.